talk to you a little bit about the process of judging for this one. We have 5 judges, as we did yesterday, but the 6 finalists are each going to get 5 minutes to present their best case as to why they should be the winner of New Beverage Showdown 10. They'll get 5 minutes of immediate feedback from the judges and be able to actually answer some questions that the judges may have as well. So the first round is going to be 3 folks from yesterday, but before we do that, let's introduce our judges. We have Greg Fleischman, who is the president and founder of Purely Righteous Brands. Next to him is Matt Mitchell, the director of strategic initiatives for VEB. Then we have Dwayne Primozic, who is the managing director of Boulder Brands Investment Group. Dinah Trout, as you saw yesterday, who was the founder and CEO of HealthAid, and the founder and CEO of BevNET, John Craven. All right, first up to the stage is Brew Broth. Come on up, guys. All right, Mary Butler and Soo-Ah Landa.
Thank you.
Take it away.
Okay.
The timer's right over here.
So timer's there, and the advancer here, the green. Okay. Testing. Great. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Soo-Ah. This is my partner, Mary, and we are the founders of Brew Broth. Ours is a love story. It's what happens when bone broth falls in love with cold-pressed juice. Brew Broth is the first ready-to-drink beverage to combine the protein, glucosamine, and gelatin benefits of bone broth with all of the vitamins and nutrients of fresh-pressed vegetables and roots. Even though our company is only just over a year old, sorry, this wasn't advancing, I apologize for that. Our story actually begins centuries before then. Being Korean, I grew up drinking bone broth my entire life. It was part of my daily diet, it was part of my cultural heritage, and even though I didn't really understand why we drank it, I just knew that it was something that made me feel good. And in times of healing, we would drink bone broth. Flash forward just a couple of decades later to a cold, foggy Bay Area morning with an icy cold greens juice in hand. I had this desire for something that had the nutrient density of this greens juice, but the nourishment and the nostalgia of the bone broth, which is what I was missing. And in true entrepreneurial fashion, if you can't find it, you create it, right? Mary had discovered bone broth as a recovery for her knee surgery, and it was only a matter of time before the two of us got together to do what food and beverage entrepreneurs do when trying to solve a problem: create giant messes in your kitchen in pursuit of the perfect flavors and the perfect recipes. Recipes in hand, we embarked upon trying to understand the viability of our product, but we knew that the most complicated part was going to be on the education piece. 1, helping consumers to understand the benefits of bone broth, but 2, also convincing consumers that something with the word bone in it was not odd or disgusting and could actually make for a lovely, sippable, delicious experience. Then all of a sudden, the bone broth phenomenon hit, and everyone from Dr. Oz to celebrities to major news channels were touting bone broth as the next big wellness trend and the next greens juice. And as you all know, that is both good and bad. The good is, on the education piece, we were going to get a little bit of help from the media attention in helping consumers understand the benefits of bone broth. The bad is, everybody was now jumping on the bone broth bandwagon. We still felt pretty committed to what we were doing in our magical formula of bone broth with fresh-pressed vegetables and roots. And we also knew that it was time for us to get moving quickly. We launched in spring of this year with 6 SKUs via delivery in the Bay Area and through CrossFit gyms. We also started to go into grocery stores to do demos in the hot 90-plus degree summers of California. And I'm going to remember that in my next venture to not launch a hot beverage concept in the summertime. We learned early this morning about how significant the spend is in the health and wellness category, and that the consumer in this category is actually willing to spend money, but they are expecting a lot from your product. Brew Broth endeavors to provide just that with many aspects that they are looking for in a whole food. It is all natural. We have protein, we address joint health, and a number of other issues. At $7 to $8.49 per bottle, oh, I think I advanced just a little too fast. I apologize for that. We hope to provide something that fits the bill for this particular consumer. When we started off addressing our target demographic, we were going after the early adopters of the bone broth trend, the paleo-friendly CrossFit and endurance athletes. But what we learned along the way was that this market was actually significantly greater than what we had expected. That people were coming to bone broth not just because of a desire for a nourishing beverage, but out of a need. They were being prescribed bone broth by their nutritionists, by their acupuncturists, by their doctors, and other health practitioners. For those of you not familiar with the GAPS diet, bone broth is a critical component of the GAPS diet. GAPS stands for Gut and Psychology Syndrome. And basically what it means, and I know we've got a lot of great products out there addressing gut health as well, but the health of your gut, and specifically that of your microbiome, is directly linked to your neurological functionings. So everything from ADD, ADHD, Parkinson's is being addressed via many treatments, including the GAPS diet. We can't wait to share with you more of what we're doing and our next progress.
Well, in the 30 seconds that I have left, which was supposed to be a minute and a half, I'll try to get through this. Listen very carefully. So our traction is that we are in a number of Bay Area stores. And where's the thing? Today, and we are going to be moving to all of Northern California, as well as 80 other stores in 2016. And 6 seconds, so sorry. Athletes, sports nutritionists, celebrity trainers, health-conscious consumers alike are incorporated. So move over, coffee and tea. It's time to bone up. There we go.
Great job, guys. Great job. You can please stay up here. You guys can stay up here in case the judges have some questions for you. Great job. Dwayne, a couple of years ago, or it was last year, I think you had said that it's these crazy nutso ideas that are really the most innovative and fun to see and do have a lot of traction potentially. What do you think of bone broth as a RTD beverage?
I love it. I don't consider it even nutso anymore. Bone broth is coming on so quickly that, that comment was made in reference to Tio, which, you've seen what they've done over the last year, also no longer a nutso idea.
Grab a mic.
I love it. The one question I have, and I didn't see it on the bottle anywhere, can you just talk a little bit about two things? One, how long do you cook the bones to make the broth, and any story around the sourcing of the animals and the bones?
Sure. So in terms of the cooking of the broth, we have a slightly proprietary method that we use, which involves high-pressure cooking and a combination of slow cooking as well. It's equivalent in terms of the nutrients and minerals that we get in a 24-hour cooking batch. The source, we've remained pretty committed to organic pasture chicken, grass-fed beef, and organic produce from farmers that share the values that we plan to message, which is sustainability and integrity in the supply chain.
Great, thank you.
John, do you think there's some challenges in having a bottled beverage that needs to be heated up, where the liquid needs to be heated up?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of beverages are instant gratification, immediate consumption, and this is clearly not. I think it's a challenge for just this category as a whole is where does it go? Is it soup? Is it a beverage? I guess this has to be sold cold. So, I think it's something that right now where we're not of the mindset of picking something out of the cooler to take home, that comes in a beverage bottle and heat later, there's confusion on it. But I feel like that's something that, there's a bunch of players in this space, it'll be figured out. The taste of this stuff, I really like it. I said yesterday I don't like, the thought of green juice with or meat with green juice, but I think it doesn't really taste like a green juice to me. It tastes more like a savory soup type thing, which, a lot of opportunity for savory, I think, too, so.
Dinah, you've seen a lot of these beverage companies come since you guys have launched on the market. What's it going to take for these guys to be successful?
Well, for one, I love the flavor. I'm a huge drinker of bone broth already, so I think this is really cool and in a very good direction. I definitely think it's going to be difficult to sell this as a ready-to-drink beverage when you have to pour it into a cup and then heat it up. One thing you might want to do is remove the, maybe you could find a way for it to be heated in the receptacle in which you sell it. I know that this wouldn't be it, but yeah, I don't know how you would do that. And then, so what is it going to take? Sorry, I'm giving you all my opinion, and that's not what you asked me.
Well, just tell me what you think about it.
Well, okay, because, so one little thing is on your packaging, that cow looks kind of like a dog. Just a little bit. So that kind of threw me off, just a little bit.
You're not using dogs, right?
And so I would just
Korean.
What breed?
make that really apparent. But so I think overall, I love the product. 10 out of 10. Like taste, the turmeric one was just delicious, and I would absolutely buy that and drink it every day. So you've got something here. I think packaging could improve a little bit, and gosh, I just don't know how we sell this as a ready to drink. I think you have to work a little bit there.
Well, they'll work on it a little bit, but in the meantime, Greg, can we figure out, aside from the cow that looks like a dog, what do you think about the label?
I think it's fairly dialed. I mean, it's ready for market. Yeah, I initially had a lot of questions about combining, bone broth and smoothies with John. That sounds like crazy town, but it tastes amazing. And there's all these questions that you have about how you can mash this stuff up, and you address them all on the pack. So, you talk about the mashup. You talk about the functional areas that you're going into and have descriptions underneath, like hot yoga for your insides, which is awesome. So overall, I think it's great. I think your two challenges are going to be, one, the brand name doesn't feel very ownable. So Brew, when people are asking for it by name, they're going to say, go pick me up a Brew. It's fairly generic. And then I think the other one is if it's sitting in the cold press juice set, or it's sitting in that cold box, you're going to expect it to be ready to drink. And I think that's going to pose some challenges for you unless you figure out a way to carve out your own brew, little area in that space. But the packaging is so dialed. Great questions.
Yeah. Matt, we only have a few seconds left. What are your last thoughts on the product?
My immediate reaction, I think a lot about the packaging as well. I think you got to figure out that trial. I think that's where you're going to have a little bit of a challenge. To everyone's point, you're pulling it from cold, then you got to heat it. And I'm wondering why you don't have a multi-serve pack instead. So that instead of people grabbing this and thinking they can drink it straight out of the bottle, you have a multi-serve pack where they know they've got to do something with it.
Yeah, we're looking into that right now, actually.
Great. Well, really good job, guys, and thanks
you.
so much for doing that. All right, I'll take that. Thank you.
Good idea.